Antonio here with Enhanced Movements Chiropractic. I just wanted to do a follow-up video based on a blog I wrote a couple weeks ago about how certain cues might be actually hurting your shoulder. The specific cues that I'm referring to are pin the shoulder blades back, pull your shoulders down and back. If someone's behind you, they might be putting a finger between your shoulder blades, squeeze my fingers. Great cues in specific contexts. But what I'm referring to is when I'm trying to bring my arm up overhead, whether it be like with some lateral dumbbell raises or lateral raises with a band or some accessory work, and or even more specifically like overhead positions, right? In an overhead squat, in a snatch, in a pressing type of motion, this cue doesn't do what I want it to do, right? So we're going to look at a couple of these diagrams here to kind of draw out a little bit more what I'm talking about. So the shoulder blades, right? If you look at this top picture here, they kind of sit, this is the spine, they sit right next to the spine on the sides there. And there's a ton of muscles that attach to the shoulder blade or scapula itself. Okay, now these muscles make up, they're super important because the way the shoulder and the arm attaches to the body is really only through one bony attachment in the AC joint and the clavicle. Everything else is muscular, pretty much muscular type of attachment, right? Through the shoulder blade. That in itself can tell you that's very mobile and it's supposed to be mobile. Now that we got lost, I think, a couple years back talking about scapular stability and really wanting to like lock things down all the time. And I think that's where like down and back became popular, which isn't again bad. It just depends on the context. But when we're going up overhead, we don't want to go down and back. Okay, so if we look at this diagram here, right, the couple of the main muscles we're going to talk about are traps and serratus anterior. Serratus anterior from the front side of the shoulder blade, this was the front side, right? It's going to come and it's going to wrap forward and kind of hugs the ribs. Then we also have over here, we have lower trapezius, kind of coming down this way. And then over here, we have upper trapezius, right? It kind of pulls our fibers kind of orient that way, okay? So if we look at this orientation, if I were to draw arrows here, right, because again, muscles just pull, kind of gives you an idea of the direction of which it's going to pull the shoulder blade, okay? We're going to use this one down here as an example. The normal kind of movement pattern of the shoulder blade when doing certain motions like bringing your arm up is this outward rotation and also kind of forward, okay? So it's a kind of an abduction and a protracted movement through the combination of these muscles working together. Now there are obviously more muscles that are involved. These are kind of the prime ones that kind of pull and direct the shoulder blade where we want to go, and then other ones in doing so eccentrically load or lengthen under load to help control that movement, and then when it gets into the position that we want, it'll help stabilize what we want in this outward or upward rotation. Okay, so if we look at this one here, right, this is midline, and these all work together. Upper traps pull this way, lower traps kind of pull this down this way, and then serratus anterior pulls it out and up this way. It gives us this kind of spin motion as that shoulder blade comes out and up. What this does now is it takes the glenoid or the socket of the ball and socket and helps direct it up. Okay, it moves this nice enough to make a lot of space for the arm to go up overhead. And the reason why this is important is we have this bony prominence coming from our shoulder blade called the acromion process, and that sits just over the shoulder. Okay. Now, what's interesting though is what happens is we have this rotator cuff muscle in here called supraspinatus. It starts just above this acromion process on the body of the shoulder blade, but then this actually kind of comes out and wraps over it where the supraspinatus comes underneath and then attaches to our shoulder over here, okay? So if the supraspinatus attaches to the shoulder, we'll draw it up here as well, kind of right around there. If it attaches up here and we're not getting this kind of upward tilt that we want, we can actually get some budding or some jamming of the shoulder up against that acromion process, and more specifically, it's the soft tissue that's on top of the shoulder that's going to be running into that. So you'll kind of get some issues with some fraying of the tissue, some inflammation in addition to that, because we're constantly kind of hitting that area. Now this happens when we're not getting that upward rotation, right, like we talked about. And when we give the cue up overhead, like pull your shoulder blades together, it blunts the rotation, right? If my shoulder blades want to rotate out, but I say pull together, that's going on against the normal pattern of the shoulder blade when we go overhead, right? If we just do this, the shoulder blade is going to naturally do that. Now on our weight, what happens is we kind of get a little bit worried and we want to think cues and activation. So we say stabilize, pull down. But if I pull down, notice that's what happened with my shoulder blade. I can't bring my arms up without running into the problems here. Now, if you're doing it dynamically, power snatches, presses, whatever that might be, and you're locking down and like basically forcing your way through it, just running into issues there, okay? So hopefully this kind of helps draw a little bit better picture and idea of what I'm referring to. Again, this is just when we're talking about when the arm's coming up. Now, if we're doing deadlifts and things like that, it's a good cue for some people. So what I like to do, and when I cue people when doing this, is if they're going up overhead or we're working on some like shoulder range of motion, I'll actually get behind them and I'll kind of go between their shoulder blades and I'll say, increase this space here, right? I'll try to open that up and allow their shoulder blades to come out. Or I'll kind of say, you know, as you're coming up overhead, let your shoulder blades kind of wrap around your body. Some people do really well with, I think, in my opinion, I think it's a little bit more of a difficult one, but when you're coming up overhead, some people like to pull the top part of their shoulder blades together, right? So if that's coming together, that's going to allow this to rotate out. I struggle with that one personally, but some people it works well for them. I might say just kind of take the lower part of your shoulder blade and wrap it around. One of the best ones is just kind of make your back big, right? If I think big back, spread, get big, that'll help open it up. And the last one I use, which seems to work pretty well, is like in an overhead position. I'll say like lengthen your arms, right? If someone lengthens their arms, it's very hard to retract shoulder blades while kind of lengthening your arms. So a couple things to work with. Again, the cues that I just gave shouldn't be causing you pain. It might make the lift a little bit more difficult at the time because it's a new cue, but just kind of play around and see what works well for you. Essentially though, it shouldn't be causing pain. It should relieve a lot of the kind of anterior upper shoulder, front or upper shoulder pain that you may be getting when pressing up overhead or doing anything like that. Now, one thing I didn't mention, what we also want to consider is, you might have heard in the past or from other people, is the upper traps over dominating and powering. Okay, so what we also don't want to see when doing this is we'll use this band here as a cue, like when you're doing like a lateral band raise or a lateral dumbbell raise. If I'm in this position, if I'm about to bring my arms down to this lateral or side raise, right? If the first motion I see is this, upper trap dominating. The moment that happens, the force vector takes your whole shoulder blade down, and instead of being this synergistic spin, it's only going up, and it's going to blunt the amount of rotation that you can see. When this gets pulled up and it kind of locks it in that position, it's very similar to just pulling the shoulder blades back. Shoulder blades can't rotate the way they need to or want to, okay? So we start down in that here, but as I start to progress, I want to let those shoulder blades move out. Okay, again, if I lock it in and I try to do this, I'm going to be approaching kind of that end range when I'm going to start hitting tissue. You may not get it here, but it's going to be a little bit more difficult. But as you start to progress going higher, let's say you're going into this type of position, you're more likely to really kind of hit and jam and cause some tissue irritation, okay? So if you're getting cued, pull shoulder blades down and back. When going up overhead, try these different cues, especially if you're having that shoulder pain. If you have any questions, be sure to reach out to us on any one of our social media channels. Feel free to email us or visit our website, enhancedmovementschiropractic.com. Thanks for watching, guys.